Peter Boykin, we're making moves. Freedom and liberty always on the rise. Tune into the truth and open your eyes.
Christmas never ends, the fire, it's been burning bright since the angel choir. Christmas never ends, the fire, a season of joy with hearts inspired. Silent night, jingle bells, carolers with ICLs. Home alone, Grinch scheme, peppermint and snowy dreams. Nutcracker, gingerbread, wreaths and ribbons, velvet red, elf on shelf, Kris Kringle lore. Cookies left by every door. Christmas never ends, the fire's been burning bright since the angel choir. Christmas never ends, the fire, a season of joy with hearts inspired. Black Friday, Rudolph's glow, Macy's parade in the snow, shopping malls, Amazon movies like the Christmas Con. Yule log, snowy hikes, 12 days, little tykes. Families gather near, spreading Christmas cheer. Icicles, ugly sweaters, cards with cheerful little letters, pine tree bows and string. Carolers begin to sing. Starry skies, manger scenes, silver bells and evergreen. Gifts exchanged, wishes made, memories that never fade. Christmas never ends, the fire, it's been burning bright since the angel choir. Christmas never ends, the fire, a season of joy with hearts inspired.
Just raise the prices again. What are those idiots gonna do? On second thought.
In a recent poll, voters were asked to rank the worst president in modern history. To the surprise of many, Joe Biden found himself at the bottom of the list, even below Nixon and Trump. This is the man who, as a president, has been seen as failing our constitutional republic at every turn. Let me just get you to understand that. He is ranked the worst president in modern history. It used to be Jimmy Carter, but Jimmy Carter gets a pass now. Now it's Joe Biden. Welcome to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, and today we'll delve into the latest from the front lines of the constitutional republic, where the fight for freedom and efficiency in governments is more critical than ever. But let's start with a tale of a bold move. Echoing his campaign promises, President-elect Donald Trump has put Mexico on notice, demanding action against the fentanyl crisis or face economic repercussions. And just recently, Mexico responded with what has been described as the largest fentanyl bust in history. So today we dive into this international standoff, discussing its implications for U.S.-Mexico relations, trade, and the ongoing war on drugs, and lots of other facts. We'll be right back with hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. Remember, we fight for what's right because it's time to go right.
Time to go right. Time to go right. Time to go right.
The legal maneuvers by President-elect Donald Trump's team to dismiss charges in New York, branding the legal proceedings as failed lawfare, are emblematic of a broader fight. This isn't merely about defending Donald Trump. It's a defense of the very principles upon which our constitutional republic stands. The argument that these charges are politically motivated strikes at the heart of our justice system's integrity and points to what many perceive as an erosion of due process. This legal battle underscores an ongoing struggle to uphold the Constitution, particularly in the face of what conservatives view as an overreach by state authorities into federal jurisdiction. This perceived overreach not only questions the separation of powers, which is a cornerstone of our governments laid out by our founding fathers, but also challenges the fundamental legal protections our Constitution promises to all citizens. The defense of Donald Trump here is therefore seen as a stand for constitutional rights, a call to protect the sanctity of our legal system from becoming a battleground for political vendettas. In an ambitious move to align with conservative values of limited government and physical conservatism, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, as the co-chairs of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, D-O-G-E, are spearheading an effort to reduce federal spending by $2 trillion. This initiative, while not having the power to make unilateral cuts, aims to influence fiscal policy by promoting efficiency in government operations, a core tenet of constitutional conservatism. Their discussions with lawmakers, supported by figures like Speaker Mike Johnson, underscore a concerted push to streamline government activities, reducing what many conservatives view as overreach. Critics argue this might lead to cuts in essential services, yet from a conservative perspective, DOGE represents a return to the constitutional ideal where the government is limited to functions it can perform effectively, embodying the ethos of small, efficient governments. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos backs the Trump's Department of Government Efficiency. Watch this video.
But I'm just saying they're certainly very good competitors, and no doubt about that. I take at face value what has been said, which is that he is not going to use his political power to advantage his own companies or to disadvantage his competitors. I take that at face value. I could be wrong about that, but I think it could be true. I think he probably is trying to, I think this Department of Government Efficiency and that he and Vivek are helping Trump with and so on. Again, I've had a lot of success in life not being cynical. And I've very rarely been taken advantage of as a result. It's happened a couple of times, but not very often. And I think that cynicism, why be cynical about that? Let's go into it hoping that the statements that have been made are correct, that this is going to be done, above board in the public interest. And if that turns out to be naive, well, then we'll see. But I actually think it's going to be great. I'm hoping.
In an unusual move, Meta, which you might know it as Facebook, the parent company of social platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Threads, has admitted to over-censoring content. You think? Especially during politically charged times. This admission from Meta's president, Nick Clegg, marks a significant acknowledgement of overzealous moderation, which has long been a point of contention for free speech advocates. This step towards transparency could be seen as a victory for those who argue that while private companies have the right to moderate content, there exists a moral obligation to ensure this moderation does not unduly silence public or political discourse. I mean, especially when you're social media and you're supposed to be an open forum. You're supposed to be the, soapbox of ideas. And what we saw was during the election of 2020 and the whole COVID situation, mass amounts of censorship. This admission not only highlights the issues with content moderation, but also opens a dialogue on the balance between platform autonomy and the preservation of free speech, especially in the context of First Amendment rights. By addressing these past errors, Meta might contribute to reducing the push for governmental oversight of speech on private platforms, which is often debated in light of free speech protections. A significant legal decision has been reached regarding TikTok, where a federal appeals court has upheld legislation that could mandate its Chinese owners to either divest or face a complete ban in the United States. This ruling underscores growing concerns over national security, particularly the potential for foreign entities to influence or manipulate American digital platforms. The debate surrounding TikTok's future encapsulates the broader conflict between safeguarding national security and upholding the principles of information freedom from a constitutionalist perspective. There's a call for greater transparency regarding the specific threats posed by TikTok. The question lingers whether this move against TikTok represents a necessary defense against espionage and data misuse, or if it might be seen as an overstep infringing on free speech, potentially fueled by xenophobia rather than concrete evidence. This situation presents a complex interplay of national interests, privacy, and the freedom of information, challenging policymakers to find a balance that respects both security and civil liberties. And I would say, to be truthful, there's a lot of apps out there that have foreign entities who own a bit of part of it. And are we only going after the Chinese people? Are we going after other people as well? And I think that with something like this, with TikTok, it opens up the can of worms of our government telling us what we can and cannot use. I'll give you an example. Telegram. It's owned by I think the Turkish person. It's not an American-based software, but a lot of Americans use it. And so what would be the next thing? They would go after Telegram or the next app, the next app, the next app. And it's not like you can particularly actually keep us from being able to use TikTok, because at the end of the day, there's a thing called a VPN. I have a link on the website at gorightnews.com where a federal appeals court ruled to uphold a law that will face TikTok's parent company to sell the platform and ban it in the United States. If you want to read that article from the Daily Caller, you can check out the link on gorightnews.com.
MAGA around the Christmas tree, the red, white, and blue aglow with patriot cheer. It's finally here, the season we all know. We're singing loud, the world's in awe. It's Christmas we declare. With liberty and victory, there's freedom in the air. Oh, joy to the world, we can say it again. Merry Christmas to every woman and man. Drums back in town, the star shines bright. MAGA's leading through the silent night. The stockings are hung, the spirit it is strong. Our faith is burning bright. The nation's back on the right track, and Christmas feels so right. The snow is falling, the bells are calling. The promise of hope is clear. Together we stand One nation, one land, MAGA love this year. Oh, joy to the world, we can say it again. Merry Christmas to every woman and man. Trump's back in town, the star shines bright. MAGA's leading through the silent night. From the mountains high to the valleys low, we're spreading peace and cheer. With a grateful heart, we'll do our part to make it the best year. The tree is lit, the spirit's lit, we're standing hand in hand. With Trump we say, God bless the USA. It's a MAGA Christmas plan. Oh, joy to the world, we can say it again. Merry Christmas to every woman and man. Trump's back in town, the star shines bright. MAGA's leading through the silent night. MAGA's leading through the silent night. MAGA around the Christmas tree, our voices raised in song. Together we're strong all season long. Merry Christmas all year long.
In recent news, we've had some developments, and most people will probably not even know it happened. If you didn't catch it, didn't pay attention to the news that day, it kind of came and went, but it was kind of a big issue. It happened mainly in the night time, United States time. Basically, South Korea experienced a dramatic, albeit brief, period of martial law declared by President Yoon Suk Yeol, which was swiftly rescinded due to intense opposition. This incident underscores the fragility of democratic norms and institutions, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of political polarization. From a conservative perspective, this event highlights the need for strong democratic structures that can ensure internal conflicts and political pressure. This political turmoil in South Korea also has significant implications for U.S. foreign policy. As a key ally hosting numerous U.S. military bases, any shift towards a government more sympathetic to North Korea, particularly with the opposition's recent electoral gains, could necessitate a reassessment of U.S. military strategy in the region. And this situation prompts questions about how the U.S. should support its democratic allies while ensuring that its own security interests are not compromised by their internal political dynamics. There's definitely been a lot of changes in the political and geopolitical field lately, right on the blink of Donald Trump taking over America again. That in a recent collapse of the Assad regime in Syria, with President Bashir al-Assad reportedly fleeing to Russia, signifies a profound change in the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. This event coincides with the rise of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, a group with historical ties to al-Qaeda, which now holds considerable influence in the region. This development poses significant challenges for internal policy, particularly in the realm of anti-terrorism and regional stability. Given the U.S.'s stance on avoiding further foreign entanglements, this situation underscores a debate on, do we get involved or do we not get involved? I would rather us not get involved. Because in Syria's collapse, there is a call of not getting involved. From perspective aligned with constitutional conservatism, the fall of Assad's regime can be seen as a validation of basically staying out of it policies, a viewpoint that has been vocalized by former President Donald Trump, and now to be president again, Donald Trump. This perspective emphasizes the pitfalls of U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts, advocating instead for a focus on national defense and domestic priorities rather than engaging in what could be perceived as nation building abroad. And believe me, America's done enough nation building. We need to start building our nation back. The rapid change in Syrian governments without significant U.S. military involvement might be cited as instability, but it could be preferable to the costs and complexities of direct intervention. This approach is seen as a way to conserve American resources and avoid the unintended consequences of foreign policy overreach. However, this scenario also highlights the complexity of non-involvement. The rise of HTS, despite its terrorist designation, presents a potential threat to international security. Balancing the principle of non-intervention with the need to combat global terrorism remains a nuanced challenge, one that requires careful consideration of both the ideological commitments to sovereignty and the practical implications for global peace and security. This situation underscores the need for strategic thinking in foreign policy, particularly in how the U.S. navigates its role in regions like the Middle East without reverting to past patterns of deep military engagement. A lot of things going on, folks, in the world, and we're going to report as they come up. We'll be right back with GoRightNews.com.
America, no matter where they lived, whether they went to college or not, I was determined to restore U.S. leadership in industries of the future. 4 years later, we have proof that the playbook is at least now working. Within the first 2 months of office, I signed the American Rescue Plan, the most significant economic recovery package in our history, and also learned something from Donald Trump. He signed checks for people for $7,400 because we passed the plan. And I didn't. Stupid. Anyway.
In a strategic move aimed at countering former President Donald Trump's intention to pardon those involved in the January 6th Capitol riot, discussions within the Biden White House have surfaced regarding the issuance of pardons for individuals labeled as anti-Trump figures. This could include high-profile political allies or public officials who have been or might be targeted for their opposition to Donald Trump. These considerations are part of a broader debate on the use of executive clemency powers, especially in the light of Biden's recent pardon of his son, Hunter Biden. Now, the public and political fields have reaction to this. The idea of such preemptive pardons has not been universally welcomed. California Governor Gavin Newsom has publicly voiced his disappointment, arguing that such actions might compromise the integrity of legal accountability. As quoted, quote, "This could be seen as an attempt to shield political allies from accountability, a move that many view as undermining the rule of law, and it calculates the concern among critics of Biden's pardons considerations." Now, as we analyze this, the impact of legal system and public trust, the erosion of legal accountability, the strategic use of pardons to protect political allies from legal scrutiny could further blur the lines between law and politics, potentially leading to a significant erosion of legal accountability. Critics argue that when pardons are used as political tools, the public's trust in the legal system is undermined. particularly if these actions are perceived more as protectionist rather than just are merciful. And there's constitutional concerns. From a constitutionalist viewpoint, the frequent and potential partisan use of presidential pardons, that's a lot of P's, potential partisan use of presidential pardons could be seen as a departure from the intended use of this constitutional power. The Constitution grants the president the authority to pardon with the understanding that it should serve justice or rectify judicial errors, not to manipulate the legal system for potential and political advantages. And that leads to the public trust in justice. The broader public discourse centers on the implications of these actions for the perception of justice in America. And if the public sees pardons as being used to favor one political side over another, it could lead to a further decline in trust in government institutions, especially the Justice Department, which is supposed to operate independently of political influence. So here we go down the line where Biden's pardon is considered the debate for justice and accountability. What's the ethical use of pardons? The potential issuance of pardons by Biden for anti-Trump figures has sparked a debate about the ethical boundaries of executive power. And the fundamental principle is whether pardons should be a tool for justice or as a means to shield allies from legal repercussions. And this scenario challenges the notion of fairness in legal proceedings, suggesting a selective application of law based on political affiliations. Meanwhile, if you go to gorightnews.com, you can check out a link for an article in the Daily Caller that talks about California Governor Gavin Newsom said he was disappointed that Joe Biden pardoned his son. Meanwhile, you can watch these two videos coming up. The first video is Charlemagne battles the hags on The View over Biden's pardoned Hunter.
Let me ask you something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy and they were saying that, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him, that's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, nobody's above the law, I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. Listen, they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do that.
So we're mad at him because he changed his.
Oh no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning Hunter Biden.
But you sound like you're
mad.
No.
And the next video after that is MSNBC Joy Reid's hated pardons under Trump, but changed her tune with Biden.
The presidential pardon was originally meant to grant the president the power to temper justice with mercy. It was not enshrined in our Constitution so that a dishonorable man could reward his criminal allies, friends, and family for their corrupt practices. I don't have a problem with Biden pardoning his son. He should have pardoned them. The crazies are coming, right? But to me, it's like, pardon more.
Former President Donald Trump has pledged to, quote, free the January 6 hostages. as one of his first acts if he returns to the White House, which he is returning to the White House. This commitment has stirred significant debate and has been a focal point of his campaign, where he has repeatedly referred to the January 6 rioters as hostages, warriors, and unbelievable patriots. Now, the public has a reaction to this. Opinions on this promise are deeply divided. Trump supporters see this as an act of justice for those they believe have been unfairly prosecuted, while critics argue it could undermine the legal consequences for those involved in the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. As for legal context, over 1,400 individuals have been arrested in connection with the Capitol so-called attack, with hundreds sentenced to prison terms. Trump's promise of pardons has led to some defendants requesting delays in their legal proceedings, anticipating clemency. Now here's a quote, "I am going to be acting very quickly. I'm looking first day," Trump said in a recent interview, indicating his immediate intention to address the issue upon re-election. Quote, "I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases," he added, suggesting a case-by-case approach, but did not rule out pardoning those who assaulted police officers. I, for one, know, and this is my personal opinion, that although we talked about some of the Biden pardons, all presidents kind of get to do this. In this case with January 6th, when you have people being prosecuted surely because of political partisan reasons, this case, the left, Biden, Kamala Harris, a failure of Nancy, and a failure of the Democrat Party to protect the Capitol, etc. The blame they put on Donald Trump over the years, the considerable amount of partisanship when it came to calling MAGA people terrorists, making people lose their jobs, going after their documents. I, for one, went to January 6th. I left because of they had a curfew. I got out of town. I did not participate in the stuff that happened afterwards. I did not go and breach any walls or go inside of any Capitol. I didn't even set foot on the steps of the Capitol. I stayed out in the area, witnessed what was going on. Most of the things that was there was recorded. But I did have that council that reached out to me, and I ignored them because, for one, I am not off the record talking about what happened that day, so they can come back and put you on stand and say, oh, well, you said something differently. And that's kind of what they've done to like Michael Flynn and other people. They did, however, out of the blue, request my phone records from my cell phone company. And I never got a chance to say, hey, no. Of course, there was nothing that they found. I had a permitted rally during the time, and that's probably why they did reach out to me. And I don't know what happened in the background. They never asked me to come to court. I didn't break any rules or any laws, so they didn't come to arrest me or anything. I did, however, potentially lose one job because of it. And I believe that all January 6 people who had problems or have worried about being arrested over nothing, who have lost jobs and who have had their rights taken and harassed by this so-called committee should be allowed to, I think, sue the government. And there should be reparations for the January 6 people. And I do understand that there are some people who have done some things that are probably warranted some charges. But I also have to compare the so-called January 6 people, the so-called rioters, to the Antifa and other individuals who destroyed Washington, D.C. on the night of the inauguration, who destroyed Washington, D.C. on multiple places. The individuals who went into the Hart building and would not leave. The other protesters that went into government buildings and would not leave. And thinking about cases like in Seattle, where they basically took over the Capitol, which is insurrection in my book. And to me, as we talk about the demand for equal justice, and like they say, no justice, no peace, I would say if you want the J6 prisoners to be thrown away and lock away the key, one of them in there for one Proud Boy member in there, Enrique, for 35 years, who wasn't allowed to be in D.C., who wasn't in D.C., who had a Zoom call that people have seen. They said it was to work towards trying to conspiracize or whatever, which the Supreme Court had already said that you can't prosecute on that, but yet that man's still in jail. There are so many people that have been locked away and they're having their livelihood taken from them and are going to be in dire straits even afterwards. That there needs to be repercussions financially to help those who had problems. And that's what I'm calling for. And I hope that Donald Trump frees everybody. Because at the end of the day, if one side will condemn you fully like this, and then the other side has to deal with it, it's not so much it's real justice being played out. Because these people would never have gone far. They would have got a slap on the wrist, like many people in riots and where they destroy property and other places where people got thrown in the thing, went to jail and came right back and got to go right back to where they were doing a riot. There's so many cases over the years where it seems like the people who are on the left get to do whatever they want, while the people on the right get everything thrown at them. And that's messed up. That's messed up. And people on the left, you've got to understand that is a tragedy of justice. That is a tragedy of democracy or our republic or whatever you want to call it. So I think the only way we can clean slate this is, yes, the January 6th people have got to be freed. And I hope that Donald Trump will do that.
MAGA around the Christmas tree, the red, white, and blue aglow with patriot cheer. It's finally here, the season we all know. We're singing loud, the world's in awe. It's Christmas we declare. With liberty and victory, there's freedom in the air. Oh, joy to the world, we can say it again. Merry Christmas to every woman and man. Trump's back in town, the star shines bright. MAGA's leading through the silent night. The stockings are hung, the spirit it is strong. Our faith is burning bright. The nation's back on the right track, and Christmas feels so right. The snow is falling, the bells are calling. The promise of hope is clear. Together we stand, one nation, one land. MAGA love this year. Oh, joy to the world, we can say it again. Merry Christmas to every woman and man. Trump's back in town, the star shines bright. MAGA's leading through the silent night. From the mountains high to the valleys low, we're spreading peace and cheer. With a grateful heart, we'll do our part to make it the best year. The tree is lit, the spirit's lit. We're standing hand in hand. With Trump we say, God bless the USA. It's a MAGA Christmas plan. Oh, joy to the world, we can say it again. Merry Christmas to every woman and man. Trump's back in town, the star shines bright. MAGA's leading through the silent night. MAGA's leading through the silent night. MAGA around the Christmas tree, our voices raised in song. Together we're strong all season long. Merry Christmas all year long.
Welcome back to #GoRight News Viral Video Roundup. Our first video comes up as New York Mayor Eric Adams calls for criminal legals to be deported and says, "Cancel me." Watch this video.
Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. Those are the people I am talking about, and I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens.
You're open to that?
Open to
hearing what their plan is to deport some of these folks, and you think the city, in some circumstances, should cooperate with ICE.
Let me. You know what's interesting? And I was talking to the team the other day. I want you to all go back and Google Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Google what they said about those who commit crimes in our city and what they said in our country. They said those who commit crimes need to get out right away. That was their position. So this is not a new position, because in the state in the era of cancel culture, no one is afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city. And if you come into this country, in this city, and think you're going to harm innocent New Yorkers and innocent migrants and asylum seekers, this is not the mayor you want to be in the city under.
Are you ready for your own humanoid robot? Maybe. I do like the information in here about being able to remotely use a robot to do stuff at home. That I kind of like. Watch this video.
A robot like this could one day take over your household chores. Meet Neo, a humanoid robot powered by artificial intelligence. The prototype is the brainchild of 1X, a company based in Norway and Silicon Valley.
In the long term, this will be doing your laundry, cleaning your house, tidying, and generally giving you back a lot of time in life.
Neo is one entry into the race to bring humanoid robots into our homes. On top of its job performing household duties, the robot can be operated remotely from anywhere in the world. That's according to Bernd Bornich, the CEO and founder of 1X.
We're really excited about the ability to teleoperate the robot yourself. So if you're somewhere else, you can actually teleport into your robot and do small things in your house that maybe you forgot to do, right? Like feed the cat or close the window, check that everything's okay.
While the current prototype demonstrated for Reuters was piloted by humans remotely, 1X says the market-ready version will use AI and remote control. The company says that version will be unveiled in 2025. As for the price, 1X says they can't reveal those details yet, but expect it to be in line with a mid-priced new car. Bornich said he has been testing the robots at home with his own family, including a previous version named Eve.
And at that point, I would have said that, this is really useful. I don't want to give it back, but I wouldn't pay for it yet. But this is a while ago, right? So there's still some way to go. And we learned an enormous amount from this. And all of these lessons learned went into designing Neo, both the hardware and the AI stack. And we're about to try this again now, and I'm super excited to see the results.
Neo faces stiff competition. Tesla has ambitious plans, with Elon Musk saying its Optimus or Tesla bot will be, quote, the biggest product ever of any kind. In October 2024, Musk predicted a future with 10 billion humanoid robots, priced between $20,000 and $25,000 by 2040. And Beijing-based startup Robotic Era recently released video of its Star One humanoid robot traversing the challenging terrain of China's northwestern Gobi Desert.
The internet was shocked to hear Barron Trump's voice for the first time. And it wasn't like, what was he saying? I like my briefcase. You know, watch this.
Hello, how are you? I'm in the business. It's very nice to see you. Very nice. I gave him a shout out last night. The place went crazy. Hello, how are you? It's very nice. Good to see you. You too, buddy. Oh, you've never met him? No. Can we make him into a guy?
A screaming match ensures as the congressional hearing on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. This Secret Service director seems like a punk. Watch this video.
So I got another question for you. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Was that the remembrance of September 11th?
It was.
Was it in New York?
It was at Ground Zero.
Okay. Who's usually at an event like this closest to the President of the United States, security-wise?
The SAC of the detail.
Special agent in charge of the detail. Were you the special agent in charge of the detail that day?
Actually, let me address this. Could you please, staff, leave that? Oh, no, leave that one up with the circle around me. Thank you. So actually, Congressman, what you're not seeing is the SAC of the detail out of the picture's view. And that is the day where we remember the more than 3,000 people that have died on 9/11. I actually responded to Ground Zero. I was there going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. I was there at Fresh Kills.
I'm not asking you that.
I'm
asking you,
Congressman.
Were you the special agent in charge?
To show respect
You were not.
for a Secret Service member that died on 9/11.
Oh, that you're trying to be.
Do not invoke 9/11 for political purposes.
Oh, I'm not. I'm invoking this.
You are, sir.
Gentlemen,
and you are out of line.
I would like to ask him a question. Please.
You are out of
Don't try
line,
to bully
Congressman.
me. Don't try to bully me. I
Order.
am an elected member of Congress, and I'm asking you a serious question, and you are
I
playing
am a public
politics.
servant who has served this nation, and
You won't answer
time
the question.
on our day, on our country's darkest
Mr.
day.
Chairman, you will not
Do
answer
not
the order.
politicize it.
Committee will come to order. I'm asking you serious questions for the American people, and they're very simple. They're not trick questions. Were you the special agent in charge that day?
No, I wasn't. I was there representing
Mr.
the
Chairman,
United
I'm
States
just
Secret
asking you yes or
Service,
no.
sir.
Mr. Fallon, your time's
did not
expired.
affect protective
You know
operations.
why you were
time's
there?
expired.
Because you wanted to be visible, because you are auditioning for this
I was
job
there to
that
pay
you're not gonna
respect for a
get
fallen
till
member of
January
this
20th.
agency.
You endangered
You are
President
out of
Biden's
line,
life,
Congressman.
Vice President
You are out of
Harris's
line.
life, because you put those agents out of position.
Mr.
Did you have a
Chairman.
radio with
Mr.
you?
Fallon,
Did you
your
wear a
time
vest?
has
Did you have a
expired.
weapon?
Mr.
No.
I did, sir, and you are out of line.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
please.
All right. And we are back
You're
in
a
order
bully.
now. We are back in order now.
Thank you.
Mr. Moskowitz, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Congressman,
How you doing?
good, sir.
All right. So,
Representative Nancy Mace makes the U.S. Census Director explain how illegals are counted on the census. Watch this video and we'll be right back.
Are illegals counted in the census, yes or no?
Yes, if they're permanent residents, if they reside in the U.S.
Okay, so when you're doing the census with folks and asking the question, you're asking them if you're not asking if they're a citizen, you're asking, do you ask if they're a permanent resident?
We asked folks to list everyone who lives at that residence.
Okay, but you're saying you're only counting illegals if they're a permanent resident.
Well, if they live at that residence. It's the interpretation of the
So
instructions
your
of the
definition of
person.
permanent residence is that they live at a place in the U.S., at a U.S. address.
Yes, I believe I misspoke because there's a legal
Oh, you
definition to
definitely
permanent,
misspoke.
to permanent
Okay.
resident. It's someone who usually lives at that address.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Are illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, the people that break the law coming into our country when they enter in the door illegally, are they counted in the U.S. Census, yes or no?
Yes.
Welcome back to the hashtag GoRight Recap Remix. In a bold move that has both his base cheering and his critics fuming, Donald Trump has promised to free what he calls January 6 hostages. Upon reclaiming the presidency, this isn't just about releasing prisoners. It's a statement that could redefine justice in America, stirring a hornet's nest of legal and moral debates. Meanwhile, whispers of Biden's pardons plans add another layer to this political chess game, raising questions about the sanctity of law versus political loyalty. But don't take our word for it. Dive deeper into this saga at GoRightNews.com. Catch exclusive breakdowns, discussions on Go Right News on Rumble.com. Or tune into hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin on platforms like Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, and more. Join the conversation, stay informed, and support this independent voice by donating at Cash App $ Peter Boykin, the #1. Remember, all the links are waiting for you at GoRightNews.com and PeterBoykin.com, where the right side of the story unfolds. We're on this journey together, ensuring our voices for freedom and constitutional governments are heard loud and clear. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and let's keep this republic strong. Remember, hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin is your voice for constitutional conservatism in the modern era. God bless everybody. Peace.
It's time to go right. Let the truth ignite. We're bringing the right news into the light. With Peter Boykin at the helm, we're taking a stand. Constitutionalist for America, we protect this land. Welcome to the place where opinions align. With liberty's flame, our voices combine. Citizen journalism, honest and true. Let's go right, it's the podcast for you. Welcome to the place where opinions align. With liberty's flame, our voices combine. Citizen journalism, honest and true. Let's go right, it's the podcast for you. It's time to go right. Let the truth ignite. We're bringing the right news into the light. With Peter Boykin at the helm, we're taking a stand. Constitutionalist for America, we protect this land. Welcome to the place where opinions align. With liberty's flame, our voices combine. Citizen journalism, honest and true. Let's go right, it's the podcast for you. place where opinions align. With liberty's flame, our voices combine. Citizen journalism, honest and true. Let's go right, it's the podcast for you. Welcome to the place where opinions align. With liberty's flame, our voices combine. Citizen journalism, honest and true. Let's go right, it's the podcast for you. Welcome to the place. Reel it on Baru with Peter Boykin. We're making moves, freedom and liberty, always on the rise. Tune in to the truth and open your eyes.